We're in the middle of March and we're almost done with draft season. A few more weeks and we're here. We're here for the NFL draft. And like we always do, every week we rank the running backs, we rank the wide receivers, and we throw a couple more guys in there. And the pool gets a little bigger, but really it's just an opportunity to talk some ball, move some guys around a little bit, go over what I'm thinking, and just see if there are any changes with these running backs. Let this clay kind of form. And here we are with the tier maker. Let's get this started. Let's start ranking these guys. So with tiers here, usually these guys are valued kind of close to the same. You can flip and flop them with how you see. Sometimes tier A and tier B, close together, pretty much the same. But, sometimes you got to have your little differences due to positions and whatnot. So keep that in mind if tiers are new to you or if you never rank in tiers. I'm a guy who likes to diversify, so I like to have a bunch of teams, and then I like to have my teams a little different. And if I'm got too much Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe I pivot. If I got too much Chase Brown, maybe I pivot to Evan Hall. Something like that. So that's why I like to rank in tiers, and some of you guys are in a lot of leagues as well, and you want the same thing. So let's look at this first. S tier, Bijan Robinson. Ain't nothing changing. Bijan Robinson is not moving. He's staying in the same spot. And he's not going to move unless he kills some kittens or something. But Bijan Robinson's locked and loaded in the stud tier. First round pick. I don't see him coming out of the second round. I see him locked in there. Good production. Good enough athletic profile. Very good athletic profile. Good production at a young age over at Texas. Catches the ball in the backfield. It's going to be used early in his career. He's going to be looked upon as a cornerstone asset to his new team instantly when he hits the NFL level. I got some changes with A tier and really letting ADP kind of play into this because really when you rank, you also want to look at the values too. And when it comes to talent, A and then some of B is kind of close, but I'm going to have one guy in A in here. You already know. It's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is a threat to go in the first round of this year's NFL draft, or it could be early second round. He's going to get that draft capital. We've been talking him up on this channel for ages. Right when this channel started, really, when I started putting out content, we talked about him when he was at Georgia Tech. And then he transferred to Alabama. Looked good there. He played well with two different collegiate programs. Did really well at the combine. Catches the ball in the backfield. He's been a guy that's been on the radar here for a few years now. Because we also talked Devy. And when we talk Devy, we've been talking about Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs, ADP-wise, is up there. And I think he should be a little bit higher, considering the transition of the running back position as a whole in the landscape. I think since he's getting this draft capital, since he's been productive in the receiving game and running the ball with two different collegiate programs, we should allow him to have some value here overall in startup drafts. I still think he's a discount here. And I think even though he's priced high, I still think he can go a little higher. And we're going to see that after the NFL draft. So if you're in startups now, you're drafting the rookies without landing spots. Even though Jahmyr Gibbs is expensive, I think he's going to be more expensive here in a little bit. Thing is, tier A and tier B. Just pure talent perspective, Jahmyr Gibbs is closer to B than he is to S. And he's very good. It's just there's not many people who are Bijan Robinson good. But production-wise, it may not be too far off anyways. But there's some guys in B that I really like. First off, Sean Tucker. A lot of people are sleeping on him. A lot of people are worried about him. Very good production profile. Showed in a passing game. He showed it in the running game in 2021. Was very solid. Damn near 100 yards in every game. Was very explosive. Track guy. Got track speed. Ran track at Syracuse and placed indoor and outdoor for a short bit. Just showed up, started running track, and started placing in meets. Wasn't on the high end. Was like 15, 16, something like that. But just showed up. Wasn't really training for it the whole time because he's been playing football. Shows up and does some work. Playing in the 60 meters. And I think the 55 meters indoor as well. Sean Tucker's a guy. He's got explosiveness. He's got speed. Did not run at the combine. Came in a little light at 207. Again, weights are a little sus. You really want to look at how the player's built. And he is a little bit thick in the lower body, which is something you want to look at. 207 could be down a little bit trying to run, or it could be that light. Who knows? But he is a little thick on the lower half, which is something you want to see with these running backs. And he has a good production profile. Tape checks out. And I see some people saying sus in the passing game, but what I saw from tape is not great targets coming his way as well, especially because he was running deeper routes. Look at his ADOT. He had an ADOT of 2 or a little above, if I remember right, and he was running routes downfield more. That means the acuity of targets are a little bit higher. It's not like he's catching all checkdowns. It's not all the targets. He's getting a lot of wheel routes. He's getting downfield a little bit more because he's got the burst, he's got the speed. It's something you want to look into when you look at the receiving profile. Good ADOT, though. When you got an ADOT above negative, above 0, that's something you want to look at with a running back who's catching balls out of the backfield and who's running routes. 5th in all of college football and running routes as well last season. That increased. That's why his rushing production was a little bit low. We were able to throw a little bit more. We got a little bit more out of the passing game in Syracuse. He was using that. Had 15% slot rate, which is a lot higher than the previous year. In 2021, he only had 5 snaps in the slot. So his overall usage in the passing game just increased a ton. Zach Charbonnet, big, thick, bruising running back here. Weighed in at 214 pounds. Had an all right combine performance. Moves laterally well on tape. Very productive with 2 collegiate programs. And when I say productive at Michigan, it is right out of the gate as a freshman, double-digit touchdowns. UCLA, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He stayed for that last year at UCLA to catch more balls out of the backfield, improve his talents in the passing game, and he did. And he did. I look for him to get draft capital. I look for him to be a featured back in his new offense. Young guy, high-end 4-star recruits. Everybody was looking for him to hit the college scene when he was coming out of high school. He did. He performed throughout his entire collegiate career. He had that one blip in 2020, but who didn't have a blip in 2020? Think about it. You did, I did, we all did. I can't really put that on him. When he came back, 2021 did well. 2022 did better. So Zach Charbonnet looking good here. Next guy I want to talk about is Devin Achane. He's very high in a lot of people's ranks. And I understand that really he's going to be very dependent on draft capital for me, because if the NFL drafts him high, then they're going to tend to use him, which is understandable. Very, very, very good 40-time, very good burst, catching the balls out of backfield. Good production profile, over 1,000 yards. His last season there at A&M, 900-some yards a year prior with Spiller there. So he's productive, used in the passing game. He is on the slight side, but we're not in an era here where we're expecting these running backs to be workhorse backs. Gotta stop it. Stop it with that. Stop thinking these running backs are going to be workhorse backs and try to figure out with their new landing spots how they fit in this puzzle to where their talents can fit. That's what I'm looking at here. I see a talent here that could really help us out in fantasy. And if he doesn't go to the right spot where I think he can click pretty quick, I'll probably just take him at value. And his value will probably be around C-ish or back here somewhere. But right now, we just got to wait because the upside's grand. Goes to the right spots, it's money printer go burr. Goes to the wrong spot, you might be waiting a bit. But again, if you're waiting a bit, you're going to catch a discount next year, year after. So it's all good. Zach Evans, I'm having question marks with him. And honestly, he looks good on tape. He's got his moments where he pops. But there are a lot of instances where he misses holes, struggles to hit them, but there's also instances where the hole's not matriculating. He's just got to chop it up and figure it out, and it's not looking good either. So it's a little wishy-washy, especially over at Ole Miss. Judkins did well there, though. Judkins did well, and Judkins is a great talent. I got some tape I want to go over with him on you guys on a workout that he's been doing because I like to go over that stuff over the off-season drills. But Zach Evans, though, at TCU had a weird anomaly as well, because he started off not so productive, then started to get productive, then got injured, and then talking about how he wanted to transfer to Deion Sanders, and then ended up at Ole Miss. Prior to that, in high school ranks, he was leading on every collegiate program. Only has 37 pass blocking snaps on his name throughout his 3-year career, which is very low. I think Judkins had more than that in his freshman year last year, so that's something to chew on there, which means to my perspective here, just putting everything together, that this guy might be at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I look at him as a willing pass blocker. I look for him to be aggressive because he is aggressive at the point of contact, but he might not be together all the way there. It just kind of shows in the production profile and the over body of things that's went on throughout his career. But he is electric. Did come in slight at the combine, a little light in the pants. But a guy that's not light in the pants that I really like, Kendre Miller. I like him better than Zach Evans. I like him better than Devin Achane. I like him with these guys. I think with his size, adjusted speed, his burst, and I think he's going to get draft capital. I think he's going to get drafted pretty good. Second round, third round. He's going to be in day 2. He's going to be in that mix, and I think he's going to get the draft capital. He's got the production. He's got the size, adjusted athleticism. I don't need a combine. I don't need a pro day. I don't need it. I know he's coming back from that injury from later in the year. I get it. I don't need it. I've seen it. I'm good to go. See him chain together moves. Just need him to go to his NFL team, get his draft slot, rank it up. I like Kendre Miller. This next back, I think he's going to fall a little bit further in the draft, but talent perspective. I know I had ADP baked in, but he is holding his own in ADP, even though there's a good chance that he might fall maybe even day 3-ish, maybe later day 2-ish is Izzy. But you know what? I like Izzy. I like what I saw last year. I like what I see on tape. I think he's very fluid, and he's got good size, adjusted speed. And the difference here between him and Devin Achane, honestly, it's probably going to be draft capital. But I love Izzy. I think he's going to be a very good running back for whatever team he goes to. If I catch him at a discount on my NFL team, 3rd round, 4th round, if that does happen, because we have a cluster of running backs, somebody's going to get pushed down, I'd be very happy to get Izzy on my team. I think he's a very good running back here. Very sound, very fun to watch. Going to Tier C, actually, I'm going to move one of my Tier C guys back to Tier B. I'm changing my mind. I'm flipping the script right here on the channel. This was not premeditated. I just came in with the guys, and I was going to just start rolling. And Tank Bigsby. Like, I am here and here with him, but I'm also like that with Zach Evans. And as I was looking at his picture, I thought that. I was like, if I'm doing that with Zach Evans and I'm doing that with Tank Bigsby, let's just keep them together. I like Tank Bigsby. I loved him coming out of high school. Man, that guy was putting guys on their ass on the film at high school level. High-end 4-star recruit came to Auburn, and we were expecting a lot out of him. We were expecting a ton out of him. It just didn't materialize the production. But there'd be clips on the field where he shows that burst, drops the hammer on somebody, very explosive. This guy can hold it down for an NFL team, can be a 2-down grinder, maybe even more. This guy's got a lot to him. This guy could be a surprise of the draft. We're so deep at the running back position, and we got a lot more good guys to talk about. Tank Bigsby, though, is a guy that's being slept on because people don't know what to do with him because you just want to look at the production profile, but you want to look, he's in the SEC, playing behind a sus offensive line. Good talent, though. Shows it in spurts here because he's not got the cast around him to do that. He is a very good player, though. He's a very good player. I want to see where he goes in the draft. I want to say that about everybody, though, because you do want to see where they go in the draft. Going to C now. We're finally going to make it to C. I'm not pushing anybody else up. I'm going to start off with somebody else that I usually don't start with when I do the C, B tier. Tajay Spears. I think he needs to be closer to B, but he's down in C. Draft capital. But when I'm talking about these guys in C, I'm very, 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 very interested in him. I love the tape. I love how he can weave in and out of traffic. I love his vision. I love how quickly he can turn it on. He's got a lot of pop in his step. He's got home run hitting speed. Then he showed us at Senior Bowl how he can run them routes. He can run routes on the field in games. This guy's solid. Had a good burst score over at the Combine. And then he had a decent 40, 4.7 to 4.9 range is what I saw in the tweets. So you add 0.05 due to that pro day time to make it more towards Combine time. I don't even know if that's realistic anymore. That's I don't care. I mean, the game speed's there. The size is a little bit slight. I'm not expecting him to be a workhorse. That's one thing. That's why I got him in C, and I'm not expecting him to be the lead dog. I'm expecting him to have some pop in his step, have some good vision, materialize some touches, and we'll go with that. And I think he's going to be a decent price in rookie drafts. We got all these running backs. Not all of them are going to be pumped up to the first round. Early second round, you're going to catch some of these guys at discount. Let's see where he goes in the draft. He is a guy that needs to go in the right spot, too, for me. He needs to be able to go to the backfield where you know he's going to get those pass-catching roles. He's going to be put in space a little bit. We got a pounder there, so he's not expected to do that. I think he's got some upside there. I really want to see him do, but I do like him. That's why I'm talking high on him. I like Kenny McIntosh. Going back to the tape, going back to the 40 time from what we saw at the Combine, it all checks out. He does have some burst on the field once he can hit that top level. Once he hits that top level, he can pull away a little bit. But he does a lot of good work in the passing game. He gets deep targets. I like that he gets deep targets downfield. That really expands his role a little bit. One thing is his draft capital still might be a little high because he's got that Georgia helmet on. So NFL teams might look at him a little bit more. Also has decent size still, good enough size. But that receiving prowess is something I want to look at and we really want to see if that matches up to his new team. Rashawn Johnson, I had him up a little higher in my ranks a few weeks ago. Coming back down, regressing back down to the mean because I think I started with him down here. And then I got up here, and now he's here. It's just, I guess it's how life plays out. But I like him. I'm very high on his profile. I like that he was a quarterback coming out of high school, one of the top in his class. I think I says this every time. But what I like about him is he drops the load at the point of contact, moves laterally well, moves well for his size, had a good 10-yard split on his 40 time. If you look at that, look at his size, that makes sense because you see him drop that pad level at the point of contact. You don't play in 40-yard spaces in the NFL. It's more 5-yard, 10-yard, 15-yard. So that really plays to his game. He's got size, can be a 3-down guy, can be the grinder, can be the goal line guy. So he can be a lot of things. He's very diverse. I still like him. I'm still looking for him in rookie drafts. Going down to Tier D. So the thing is, when you look at Tier C and Tier D, and you look at these ranks, you're like, man, Bruce hates these guys. But if you put these guys in on a micro level in another class, shit, they may be 2 tiers higher. Like, if you put Kenny McIntosh, Tajay Spears, Rashawn Johnson, they might be in Tier A last year. Or high-end Tier B. Like, shit. Last year's class does not have this depth. That's the thing. You don't rank the classes the same, and when it comes to the tiers, they get different every year. And this class does not measure up to a lot of classes when you look at the depth. It's very deep. And this is part of that running back reset. And part of the running back reset is you got a lot of veterans here who are hitting that back nine. And they're transitioning to new teams. And we got a lot of young guys coming in. And then it's not just this year. It's 2024, which means the reset is going to be from 2023, 2024, 2025-ish. And then you look back and be like, damn, this landscape's changed. And it just did it kind of like that, but you didn't really realize it. That's the thing about the reset here. And we didn't get that in 2020 because the veterans weren't doing that transition. And it wasn't this deep. It was deep. It was very good. But we did not get to transition with the veterans to this extent. And then we also do not have this deep crop with another deep crop in 2024. And this layover here that we're seeing. And once we get into 2024, 2025, these guys are going to leak more into the league. And then 2024 will as well. And then it's going to be different. It's all going to be changed. That's why you want to get your running back cheap, especially the vets. Get the cheap vets and just roll the dice with them. Patch up your production. But going on to Tier D after that spell, Chase Brown. I love him as a prospect. Loved him at the Senior Bowl. Loved watching him throughout last year. Put a hammer on Michigan. I'm a Big Ten guy. I watched a lot of Big Ten games. Plus, I got to cover all of college anyways on a weekly basis. Saturday nights, I don't sleep because I got to go through every single game. He popped on every single game. Almost had 100 yards on almost every single game last year. One of the top rushers in all of college football. Man, this guy really turned it on in the back nine of his career, too. Chase Brown is going to be a good discount running back for somebody. I also love Evan Hall. A lot of people talk about him because he takes the ball home on every single drill at the combine. I've been talking him up all off season long because how he catches the ball out of the backfield. Been doing that at Northwestern at least the last few years. Really popped in that Nebraska game earlier this year. That's when you really start coming on to him, and then he started showing that production in the passing game. And then his size was listed a little heavier. So you're really feasting on him, watching him. You knew he was going to be that late round target in this year's draft. All the way from like week 1, week 0 of the college football season. Evan Hall's a guy that could be a discount player. He's going to be like one of those players. When I do that You Need series, talking about the waiver wire, trying to prospect on guys to pick up the stash, he's going to be there a lot this season. I can already feel it. And then another guy is Deuce Vaughn. He's going to be there around 312, 401, 402 range in rookie drafts. I don't really see much changing. Unless he gets decent draft capital to a top-tier offense, then that might bump up to like 305, 301-ish. But I don't see him break into the second round. It could unless he gets overdrafted by a team. But he's 5'5", but he's stout. He's got speed. Again, once you get to that part of the rookie draft, you just take your guys. You really go after the metrics here. I like to go after guys, catch pass out of the backfield, but I also like in that range to go after bigger running backs who catches passes out of the backfield. I have Evan Hall ahead of him. So that means I'm only using Deuce Vaughn as more of a diversification piece. If you look at it in that range, but I still kind of like him due to his production profile too. I like Muhammad Ibrahim, and I'm a Big Ten guy. Been watching him whole career pretty much. Feel like he's been in the Big Ten for like 20 years. Had that Achilles injury, and then came back. Had 100 yards in damn near every game. You don't see that with guys coming back from an Achilles injury like that. Usually when I see a guy come back from an injury and it doesn't really affect them that much, there's something to him, like you're good. Like you're a good player. Like that's what I feel. Also, there's variabilities with the injuries. There's ambiguity there. But again, he came back from that Achilles injury, did well. I don't know if that can really transfer over 2 years afterwards to the NFL level. I feel like he's going to be a late draft pick. Might be a guy who moves his way slowly up his new depth chart. Eric Gray here, because he's a late round guy that I like. And I liked him at Tennessee. I liked him here at Oklahoma. A lot of people liked him back then. I also feel like if he starts to pop, people are going to start jumping on that train. Moves well, very fluid. I think he's a player that could sneak up a depth chart. Dwayne McBride, I'm actually low on him. Due to his production profile, he did pretty well. Caught 5 passes in his entire 3-year career over at UAB, plus a G5 prospect. I really need him to go in the right situation, get opportunity quick for him to be Dynasty relevant for a bit. Moving to Tier E here, let's talk about some jabronis. The guy I like here the best. The guy here I think that's going to be a late round breakout, or the guy that could really sneak up on us, and maybe Keaton Mitchell because of that speed. Especially right spot, right time scenario, if he can work his way up the depth chart. It's not even that I'm low on him. It's just there's so many goddamn good running backs. There's just so many good running backs here that I'm not low on him. It's just, if it was a different class, I'd be a little higher on him. I'd be like, yeah, that's a sleeper for me. But you know what? There's so many. That's just how it is. I'm kind of low on Chris Rodriguez. Even though he's got a good production profile, he is kind of slowish on tape for me. Chains together, moves well, though, for his size. It's just, he also had that suspension last season as well. Kind of milks in there. But also, I recognize the production profile. A guy that lands on the right team where they need a back, slew of injuries happens, he can hold it down for you. That's what I see from him as well. Could move up the rankings there. You don't want to sleep on him. You don't want to go, no, not Chris Rodriguez, because there is some goods to his game. But also, you've got to really notice that the speed's not there, but he has been productive in the SEC for a little bit. Cam Peoples, I'm done with. Not really my type of back. A little slowish there. Good size, but I look for him to fall in the draft. Small school prospect who really doesn't get it done for me. And one of the new guys here is Travis Dye. Thing about him, he was very productive at Oregon, especially that last year there with 1,000 yards rushing over that. And then transfers to USC, has some good games, and then gets hurt. Now is trying to make it the comeback, trying to go to the NFL level. Not the biggest running back, but he is pretty stout with vision, getting it done. Wants to see how far he falls in the draft. May go undrafted. Maybe a late round guy, but a guy that is pretty solid when it comes to the fundamentals. Tyon Evans was at the combine. Wasn't productive enough for me at either program where he was at. Coming from Louisville, wasn't productive. Wasn't really that at Tennessee. There's some goods to his game, but overall, when you look at this whole landscape, how are you going to stack up to that? You're really going to watch him go to a depth chart. You're going to watch him compete, and then you're going to make your decision from there. So I'm not jumping up the bit to get him. Again, could prove me wrong, but I'm not betting against myself either on that one, especially off my intuition from what I've seen. From the rankings here, I feel pretty good. I feel better than last time. I feel like I did a good job with Jahmyr Gibbs here, just splitting them off a little bit and just saying, hey, A and B is pretty damn close, but we also got a different value perspective. I think where I could split off B a little bit with Zach Evans and Tank, maybe make C bigger. That could happen. I'm locked in on Izzy. I'm locked on Kendre Miller. Those are my two major guys. I don't look at that special, though, because a lot of people have them as their guys as well, so it is. I love Sean Tucker, one of my favorite backs in this class. I like Tajay Spears. I think I'm just really trying to be very conservative with him. I see Kenny McIntosh as a good receiving threat. Chase Brown I like, Evan Hall I like in that D tier. Muhammad Ibrahim, I'm a Big Ten guy, so I might have him overvalued. Deuce Vaughn, I might have him overvalued, but I feel like I might have him at the right spot just in case due to that production profile. And tier E, Keaton Mitchell is the guy that could come out and do some things. That guy that you're not looking at all. That guy that comes out of this class and does something for a spurt or something like that. Keaton Mitchell might be that. Don't sleep on Chris Rodriguez, even though his profile is kind of wonky. And then Travis Dye, hope he comes back from the injury. I enjoyed watching you throughout your collegiate career, and big ups to you, dude. And that is the rookie ranks for this week. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if there's anybody else you want me to add to the ranks for next week. That way we have a bigger pool of players. Maybe we can add another tier in there. I want to hear about it. Smash that subscribe button. It's only going to help you out for your rookie drafts going forward. As I go through the information, I drop a video. As I learn more about these players, I drop a video. And I try and keep it consistent, which I do. Nobody's more consistent than me. 2-3 videos a day, 1 video a day that's longer. I pump it out on the regular for you guys, and it's all free. I want to thank you all for watching, though. Catch you on the next video.